Woman was released in 1990 and was directed by Gary Marshall, and it stars Richard Gere and Julia Roberts in a career-making role. This classic romantic comedy tells the story of Edward Lewis, a wealthy businessman who gets lost in Hollywood and picks up streetwalker Vivian to take him to his hotel. Edward then puts forth a business proposal to Vivian, asking her to be his escort for the week so she can accompany him to business events and so forth. But then things get a little complicated when both Vivian and Edward start to fall in love with one another. If you've just turned into this channel for the very first time, please hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel. Hit that alarm bell so you can get notifications from me, and help give this video a like as well, as this is what's going to help the channel grow. Pretty Woman, easily one of my favourite films, and easily one of the best films from 1990. It was a defining film, not just for Julia Roberts, but also for the genre that it was in. Because prior to that, the romantic comedy genre hadn't been all too successful. But it was thanks to the success of such films as When Harry Met Sally, Ghost, and Pretty Woman, which had been received well by both critics and fans alike, that helped spawn a rejuvenation in the romantic comedy genre. What was so interesting for Pretty Woman when I did my research was the fact that it was actually written by J.F. Lawton. And J.F. Lawton would go on to write the hit Under Siege. J.F. Lawton didn't actually write Pretty Woman as a romantic comedy. His first incarnation was darker, it was grittier, it focused more on drugs and the seedier side of that life. But Laura Ziskin, one of the producers on the film, said, no, we need to make this into a more light-hearted Cinderella-like tale. And due to rewrites, I don't know where J.F. Lawton's work starts and ends and where the rewrites come in. I don't know how much of his original incarnation of the film is in Pretty Woman. But Pretty Woman is just a classic nostalgic piece from the 80s to the 90s. The fashion, the locations, the excess, that time of wealth, the slick soundtrack, which is just another character within the film, all makes for an entertaining piece of the film. Richard Gere and Julia Roberts are excellent. And even though they will go on to collaborate further in 1999's film Runaway Bride, which was again directed by Gary Marshall, this is their best work. Pretty Woman is pretty much a success thanks to the fact of great direction, great acting, great memorable lines and set pieces, and again, I'll say it again, a great soundtrack. Richard Gere as Edward Lewis solidified his status as a leading man and reintroduced himself to people who were not maybe familiar with his work. Al Pacino, Burt Reynolds, believe it or not, they'd all been offered this role but turned it down. And Richard Gere actually took this role at the behest of Julia Roberts, who wrote him a post-it note saying, please do this work. And he did. Richard Gere was already a leading man from the 80s in such hits as An Officer and a Gentleman, American Gigolo, Cotton Club. He had already established himself as a heartthrob, but this film again reintroduced him to that audience. And again, it was his first comedic role. Richard Gere also showed himself to be a master improviser. The scene where Vivian is going to get the necklace in the case and he closes it on her hand, that was actually an improvised scene. So her laugh was real, her reaction was real, but Gary Marshall loved it so much that he decided to keep it in the film. Julia Roberts was only 22 when she made this role, and this was the film that catapulted her to superstardom. Her role as Vivian was just excellent. Very likable, very charismatic, and she just had great on-screen chemistry and an on-screen presence. And it's that on-screen presence which has made her such a likable female lead in such other films as well. Hector Elizondo, who played the hotel maitre d', who sees that Vivian is struggling and helps her get her fitted for clothes, and is pretty much somewhat of a surrogate father to her. Always lends fine support. The late Ralph Bellamy, in his final appearance, plays one of the corporate business owners that Edward wants to take over his company, but then they end up doing business together in the end. Jason Alexander, the sleazy business partner who Edward punches in the end of the film, always lends fine support. So there are just so many memorable actors in this film, memorable characters and memorable scenes, from the shopping scene where Vivian is rejected because of her dress, but then when she comes back, beautifully attired, and says, you know what, you guys are on commission, right? Big mistake, huge. Classic line. But the slick soundtrack is what helps Pretty Woman flow beautifully. From Roy Orbison's theme tune, Pretty Woman, to some songs that were recorded in the late 80s and were brought into the soundtrack. Go West, I'm the King of Wishful Thinking, Natalie Cole's While Women Do, the beautiful score of It Must Have Been Love, sang by Roxette, sung by the late Marie Fredriksson. Beautiful song, love it. And so many other tracks as well that just make this film so entertaining. And 30 years on, Pretty Woman is still as entertaining then as it is now. It is still a classic, can still hit the notes, still hit the laughs. The legacy of that film is it has spawned a theatrical performance in Broadway. And even a British actor tried to reenact that film to try to do a remake in England. But rather than falling in love and having a happy ending, like it did in Pretty Woman, well, it ended up like this. Oh yeah. But Pretty Woman, 30 years on, still a classic film. Love every minute of it. So I'll give this film a very, very strong 10 out of 10. So, there you have it. That's my review. Like I said in the beginning, hit that subscribe button so you can follow this channel. Hit the like button as well, which will help the channel grow. Hit the alarm bell so you can get notifications from me when my video is going to be uploaded. What is your favourite scene from Pretty Woman? And how do you feel about it 30 years on? Leave your comment in the comment section and I shall see you all on the next film review. Take care.